The laughter was still hanging in the air when the farmer placed his worn hands on the counter and repeated himself. "I want to withdraw 1 million. His voice did not rise. It did not shake. It carried the weight of soil, sun, and years of silence. The businessman beside him leaned back, smiling wide, his suit clean, his shoes shining like mirrors. He did not bother to lower his voice. A farmer asking for 1 million was, to him, a joke meant for everyone to hear. The line behind them shifted. Eyes turned. Some faces showed interest. Others showed doubt. Most showed nothing at all. The farmer stood still. His shirt was faded. His boots carried dried mud. His shoulders were broad but tired, like a fence post that had held storms for too long. He did not look at the businessman. He looked at the teller, a young woman with careful eyes, as if she might already sense something deeper beneath the quiet request. People often thought silence meant weakness. They thought calm meant lack of power. That mistake was about to cost someone dearly. The farmer's name was Elias. He had come straight from the fields. The smell of earth still clung to him, warm and real. His hands were rough, cracked, marked by years of work that never made headlines. When he stood there, waiting, memories pressed against his mind like old letters never sent. He remembered mornings before the sun, when the land breathed mist and the air tasted clean. He remembered nights when his body ached so deeply that sleep felt like a gift. He remembered the feel of dirt slipping through his fingers, the sound of crops moving in the wind like quiet waves. Farming had taught him patience, and patience had taught him strength. But before the land, before the fields, before the quiet life, there had been another world. A louder one. A harder one. Years earlier, Elias had worn a uniform. It had smelled of oil and dust and fear. He had learned how to listen in silence, how to move without being seen, how to hold the line when everything inside him wanted to run. He had stood beside men who joked in the face of danger and cried in the dark when no one could see. Some of those men never came home. The memories never left him. They lived in the small scars on his arms, in the stiffness of his knee when rain was coming, in the way loud laughter in small rooms made his chest tighten for reasons he could not explain. When his service ended, Elias returned to the land he had inherited from his father, a thin stretch of soil, nothing fancy. He rebuilt his life one quiet day at a time. He did not talk about where he had been. He did not wear medals. He planted, harvested, repaired, and endured. He also made one decision that no one knew about, a decision that would change everything. Back at the bank, the businessman continued his show. He spoke with easy confidence, tapping his phone, shaking his head as if sharing a funny story. "A farmer with 1 million," he said, softly enough to be heard, loud enough to wound. The line behind them stirred again. No one spoke up. Silence can be loud when it chooses to be. Elias felt the familiar pull to step back, to avoid trouble. It was the same pull he had felt long ago, before he learned that quiet dignity was sometimes the strongest answer. He stayed where he was. The teller typed slowly. Her eyes flicked to the screen, then back to Elias. Something shifted in her expression. She swallowed. She asked for a moment and stood, walking toward the glass office behind her. The businessman scoffed. He adjusted his cuff, still smiling. He had places to be. People like him always did. As Elias waited, his thoughts drifted to a dusty afternoon years earlier. He had stood with his unit near a broken road. The heat had pressed down like a hand. An order came through, urgent and risky. Elias had followed it without question. That day, his calm had saved lives. That day, silence had been power. The teller returned, followed by a man with gray hair and careful steps. The manager. His eyes landed on Elias and did not move away. Recognition bloomed slowly like a sunrise. The manager nodded once, a small nod, a respectful one. Everything changed without a single raised voice. The manager asked Elias to follow him. The businessman laughed again, lighter this time, as if the joke was already finished. He did not notice how the room had gone still. He did not notice the way the manager did not look at him. Inside the office, the air felt cooler. The manager closed the door gently. He spoke Elias's name as if it mattered. As if it had weight, the manager remembered Elias from years ago. Not as a farmer, as the man who had come in quietly and opened an account no one expected. The man who had deposited funds earned not through luck, but through sacrifice and patience. After returning to civilian life, Elias had invested what little he had. Carefully, slowly. Land deals others ignored. Old bonds tied to promises made long ago. Compensation from a forgotten contract that paid out over time. He never touched the money. He let it grow, like a seed planted deep. He did not need wealth to live, but he wanted security. For his family, for the land, for the people who depended on him. The manager confirmed the balance. The numbers sat there, steady and real. 1 million. Outside, the businessman checked his watch, still smiling, still sure. The door opened. The manager stepped out first, holding a folder. Elias followed. The manager spoke clearly so the room could hear. The withdrawal would be processed immediately. Private arrangements would be made. The bank thanked Elias for his patience and his trust. The laughter died where it stood. The businessman's smile froze and cracked. His eyes searched faces, screens, anything that might explain what he was seeing. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. Elias did not look at him. He did not need to. Silence settled over the room, heavy and complete. People shifted their weight. A woman near the back lowered her eyes. A man removed his hat. Respect moved through the space like a quiet tide. The businessman felt small, not because he was yelled at, not because he was insulted, but because his certainty had collapsed. He had judged a life by its surface and found himself exposed. Elias turned to leave. Before he reached the door, he paused. He did not raise his voice. He did not sharpen his tone. He spoke as he always did, calm and steady. Wealth is not always loud. Strength does not always shine. The words hung in the air, simple and true. Outside, the sun had shifted. The light felt warmer. Elias breathed deep, the smell of the street mixing with memories of soil and rain. The weight in his chest eased. Behind him, the businessman stood alone with his reflection in the glass. For the first time in a long while, he felt unsure. In the days that followed, the story spread. Not as gossip, but as something closer to a lesson. People spoke about the farmer who stood quietly and the laughter that faded. They spoke about respect and the danger of shallow judgment. Elias returned to his fields. The land welcomed him back without question. He worked as he always had, steady and patient. Nothing about him changed. That was the point. Sometimes true power does not announce itself. It waits. It listens. And when the moment comes, it speaks once, clearly, and forever alters the room. If this story moved you, take a moment to share where you are watching from. Let us know what this moment meant to you. And if you believe in honoring quiet strength and unseen sacrifice, stay with us and subscribe for more stories that remind us who real heroes are.